Good morning. This is Kamera again. We're on day number 66, Deuteronomy 24, 25, 26, and 27. So Deuteronomy 24 through 27, another 4 chapters that we read today. Moses is still addressing the people of Israel before they cross over to the Jordan. And again, more regulations. If a man divorces his wife, and she's for whatever reason she is free to marry someone else, and if something happened to that man or he divorces her, then the first husband cannot remarry her. Just certain things. Newly married men cannot be drafted that first year. He needs to take care of home first. When you lend someone something, talks about that. For instance, if someone lends a coat or just read it, guys. It's just some detailed things there. They're short. It's not really long. When the explanations of why not to do certain things. I was going over, because I'll read the word and then I'll listen to it and I'll meditate on it. I'll think on it, and I'll think. Sometimes I'll just play it over and over, or I'll go back and I'll read it. I'm like, wait, did I just read that correctly? And I'm thinking, how did Moses come up with all these regulations, these stipulations, these regulations, period, these concerns? I'll just say this, those concerns. Remember in the beginning how the journey, how Moses would listen to the people day and night, listen to their concerns. And so eventually he had to get some elders to help listen to those concerns. These rules and regulations, these problems had to have been occurring already in the children of Israel. And so they must have compiled the biggest concerns and addressed them. So these are the concerns. And so when you harvest, leave some, don't clean your crops so good that you don't leave anything on them. Leave some for the poor, the widows, the orphans, the foreigners. There's punishments for if there was a dispute, the one who was found guilty, the punishment for that. So they go over all of this. What happens to a widow? A brother dies. He shares that land with a brother. Widow cannot marry outside of him. She has to marry him, but he can refuse. And they go over that. Look at this one. 2 men fight. The wife of one of the men grabs the testicles of the one who's against her husband. Yeah, if that ever happens, they said she has to have her hand cut off. Show her no mercy. Don't even have pity for her. So yeah, these are just some of the regulations. Be honest with the scales. Destroy the Amalekites because they took advantage of you guys when you were up against them. They were just killing people, the stragglers. So God says destroy them, erase them from history, basically. Moses again tell the children of Israel to again obey God, obey His decrees. Obey His regulations, obey His commands. He says, then God will set you high above all the other nations. You'll be very prosperous. So yeah, instructions after the crossing the Jordan, how they should give their tithe, and how after they give the first of their crops. There's this thing they need to say, like, I present this to God, my tithe, or what have you, and remind Him or talk to Him about how He delivered the children of Israel from Egypt. So they're like basically, a lot of times when we pray to God, a lot of times we will discuss with Him about a situation that happened. And then a lot of times we'll talk to Him about how He brought us out of a certain situation, and we praising Him for that. So that's basically what the children of Israel are doing, are told to do when they present their first crops. And then there's every third year tithe thing that they need to do. Special tithe that are given, and it is in support of the widows, the orphans, the foreigners. And another thing that's covered is once the children of Israel are on the other side of the Jordan, half of the community, half of the 12 tribes will stand on a mountain, and they will proclaim the blessings, and the other 6 will proclaim curses. And then once they're done with that, then the Levites will proclaim curses. And these curses, I mean, there's a lot of them. For instance, you're cursed if you carve out any idols, if you dishonor your parents, if you sleep with your father's wife, if you sleep with your sister, whether your sister is from your mother's side or your father's side. So there are different curses in there. So I do admonish you to, again, read the word. I did not cover everything that are in those 4 chapters. I just touched on a few. So yeah, read the word, and don't slam the book on God because you don't like how he allowed them to regulate. But yeah, seek him for understanding, seek him for peace, seek him for wisdom. And yeah, just go through and just read those. Just read them. Okay. All right. So remember, Moses again had to go over some things again because they're going into the promised land. So these are like the final commands, the final promises, regulations that he's covering. So we're almost out of Deuteronomy, and then we're going into Joshua, and that's when they're in the promised land at that point. But yeah, that's day number 66. Deuteronomy 24 through 27. Okay, you have a God-filled blessed day.